Hello everybody and welcome to another OgreCast. I'm Ogre and I'll be your host for this game of StarCraft 2 between Eladimir and DanRyuKen. They are both playing a very heavy macro style in this game, so I have to speed this up to skip the first 5 or so minutes, at least up until they get their hatcheries going, because they have pretty much the same build going on. A little bit faster hatch for Dan than Eladimir, but not too much happens. Okay, the first 4 minutes there's no real action in this game, so don't feel like you miss anything. Eladimir goes and sacks an Overlord into DanRyuKen's base, I guess checking for any interesting tech buildings that he'd keep hidden in the back here. A couple of Zerglings coming to scout for Eladimir, and really not seeing too much, except for a Zergling advantage for Dan, which made short work of those Zerglings that Eladimir sent up there. So now at this point, it is 6 minutes into the game, and things start going a little bit differently for these two. As you can see, like, the production up until this point of units has been almost exactly identical. We got 2 queens for Dan, and only 1 for Eladimir. We got lair tech coming up for both of them. Dan's lair is already finished before Eladimir's, so a little bit of an advantage there in getting the lair tech faster. We got a Baneling nest coming for Eladimir, which is, in Zerg vs Zerg, very standard to get Zergling Baneling combos. And of course, Banelings could make short work of this little group of Zerglings here if you use them properly. Eladimir is running his Zerglings up right behind these trees here, which is probably the most popular place to hide some Banelings, and then you can just run into the expansion here. Yeah, Dan sent a little scout Zergling into Eladimir's base, and he got a good look at the Baneling nest, so he knows Banelings are coming. Oh! The Banelings just take out about 9 Zerglings there. He's running them in to go for some drones, but looks like, and he takes out 6 or so more Zerglings with 3 of those Banelings, and that is going to even out the playing field, I think. The Zergling advantage definitely gone for Dan, and it is now 2 Zerglings to 1 for Eladimir, and a 26 drone to 21 advantage as well. So an excellent attack with Banelings. He just morphed them in right there, took a peek in with his Zerglings, and he lured all of Dan's Zerglings to come back out towards these trees where the Banelings were hiding. Took out, he had to take out 12 Zerglings there with about 4 Banelings. Definitely a good trade, but now we've got a couple of queens, some good spine crawler coverage here for Dan, so that is going to be good for defending this expansion. He's got a few more Zerglings back, but Eladimir was a bit behind, but he managed to pull out ahead in that attack, so it was pretty good. We had a changeling on the field for Eladimir. That's interesting. Let's see if we can find it. We got the Overlord here. Yeah, I don't know where that changeling is. I guess he's... Oh, there he is. Just sitting there with all the other Zerglings. Nice little spot for Eladimir. So that is how you use a changeling. You want to get it right next to a bunch of troops that are identical. It makes it harder to see. It is a little bit different color here, but we'll see if Dan ever spots it. Now, we've got a Spire up for both players. Still, do we have any mutas coming? Got no mutas on the field, I don't believe. Oh, we got 2 mutas in production for Eladimir. And, oh, now 5. He's got 5 mutas on the field somewhere. I guess that would be them. And we've got we've got some Zerglings here. Taking out these banelings, that is going to be quite a waste of money. It's unfortunate, but it is good to scout that spot there every once in a while just to see what's going on. Mutas come in for a little bit of a harass. There are plenty of queens here to turn them away, though. I would expect to see a spore crawler or something come up by Dan, just kind of at the back there to defend these little dronies. There goes a Mutalisk. We still got 4 here in production. 6 mutas were in production for Dan, so he's getting some air units himself, and he's got the home ice advantage here with his queens to fend off the mutas. It's not looking too good for Eladimir's mutas here. They're going to have to take a little bit of a detour and get the heck out of there. Yeah, okay, they seem to be just able to escape. He's hiding his Overlord, which is good. Shows that he's thinking about more than one thing at once. Saving these mutas as well as keeping his Overlord out of sight, which is very smart. Overseer, I should say. So, wonder if he's still got his Changeling in there. I guess not. Nope, that Changeling has been killed by DanRyuKen. I wish I had seen where he took that off, but good use of a Changeling. I mean, people don't seem to use that often enough. Their Overlords or Overseers just kind of sit there useless most of the game, as detectors, I guess, but could be used for more. So I'd like to see the Changeling by Eladimir. It's a good move. These mutas are going to pick off a couple of Zerglings. I think their days might be numbered. Yeah, not worth chasing those down. They got Zergling speed, so we got Eladimir here getting rid of the destructible rocks at the gold, and we have a muta advantage actually for Dan. We got 12 mutas, or 18 mutas to 12, and he has 3 queens here defending his base. It's going to be tough for Eladimir to push in there with these mutas, and he could stay aggressive and kind of just keep moving back and forth, but every time you do that you run the risk of losing a few mutas, and then eventually you got nothing. So I think he's right now just got to mask these up and maybe add them to a greater mixture of units, because in the straight air battle he's not going to win any in Dan's territory anyways. He might if he can take the battle somewhere else, but right now no, he's not going to win this battle over the expansion, that's for sure. Dan's clearing these rocks here, apparently ready to expand. Now, a big difference I'm seeing here is the drone advantage. Dan has kept pumping out drones, whereas Eladimir has stopped pumping drones and is just pumping units right now. And that is where you can really fall behind in a game, because you aren't expanding as fast as you should be. When you're just content to have your mineral patches be saturated, but you're not continuing to produce drones, you can really fall behind in the macro game expansions and things like that. Now, Dan just took out almost all of Eladimir's air forces right there, all of the mutas. So corruptors can't even shoot ground. There's plenty of queens here. Dan should really be more aggressive with these Mutalisks. He has a lot, and he is letting Eladimir expand to the gold. He's got some Zerglings here to scout for an expansion. Oh, and a Baneling pops all those Zerglings, so that scout is gone now. Be a good idea for Eladimir to get this gold patch saturated. I'm sure, yeah, there's a lot of drones here that could be sent over there to saturate it. There's not many. Oh, he must have sent them over. No, there's almost no drones at this expo, and I mean that's just another symptom. Like, look at that drone count, 33. That is not much more than it takes to saturate one patch of minerals, and there's, you know, he should have been pumping drones a lot more in this game. Let's see, there's now 60 drones to 35. Dan has expanded to this third base. Lots and lots of mutas. His income is 1,500 over 500. And he's got 3,000 in the bank. He can't even spend his minerals so fast, which is a very frequent problem with Zerg. Eladimir has managed to send a lot of drones over to the gold, which is a good move, but, you know, what's mining here? Nothing. So he's really got to get that going. And if you have too many minerals, you can get more in-base hatches, more queens pumping out, and things like that. You know, sometimes people who play Zerg, they get, you know, they don't worry about minerals too much. It's a gas that decides how many units they get. But if you can have, you know, so you can just put a hatch right next to this one here. You can put a second hatch down here. It looks like the mutas are moving out for Dan. Popping that Overlord. But yeah, like, you can't, you got to keep pumping these drones, and I think that is going to be a fairly big problem here pretty soon. He's going to fall behind in the macro. The mutas come up, see the gold expansion, and they should make quick work of this with the amount of mutas there are. They could, there, they pop that hatchery, and they don't want to face all these hydras and corruptors, so the mutas are going to fly home.